Hello, everybody. Dr. Yates with you this afternoon. I want to start talking about our selection on the Christian Bible. I've signed a few things out for you, and I'll be honest, I'm probably going to give you more information than you want. But I feel like it's very important information that you need to have to really understand and appreciate the New Testament. These are important historical ideas and points. I'm not trying to preach or anything like that. I'm just bringing a scholarly perspective to looking at the New Testament and at the selections that I've assigned you this time. So, without further ado, let's get started. Just to kind of introduce the New Testament to you. The New Testament is the second division of the Christian Bible. We went over the Hebrew Bible last week. It discusses specifically the teachings and the person of Jesus of Nazareth, or often called Jesus Christ, as well as events in the first century of Christianity. Now, the New Testament's background is from the Old Testament, the Hebrew Bible that we discussed previously. And taken together, the Old Testament and the New Testament form what we can call the Christian Bible. So that's very important. Now, here's a very colorful and complicated and complex graph for you, and I realize this, but I do have it up here for a reason, because it encompasses a great deal of the details that I think are important to you anytime you look at the New Testament. The New Testament, first of all, is a collection of Christian texts. And these were originally written in Koine Greek, or the common Greek language. They were written at different times by various authors. Often we look at the names of the books, such as Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, for the Gospels. And tradition says that those names are the names of the authors. But historically speaking, those are not the names of the authors of those manuscripts. Remember, as we discussed with the Hebrew Bible, what we're dealing with are copies upon copies upon copies throughout 2,000 years, essentially. And we no longer have the original manuscripts. They no longer exist. They've been lost to time. We have fragments of some of those manuscripts, but again, they're only fragments. And so while tradition is important, I think we need to realize that that's what it is tradition. But historically, because of the complexity of the transmission process, we have to realize that those authors are probably indeed not the authors of the manuscripts. Originally, they probably were, but again, as we're talking about transmission and copying, the authors or the scriptures themselves were written physically by other people and redacted. Okay. So, while the Old Testament tends to vary somewhat among the various Christian denominations, the canon of 27 books of the New Testament has been almost universally recognized within Christianity since the periods of the late antiquity. There's still some debate on a few of these, but they've generally been accepted more so than the books of the Hebrew Bible. But anyway, this graph that I have up here is really focusing on the first 50 years after the crucifixion of Jesus, roughly 25 to 75 CE. So take your time. I don't expect you to memorize this or anything, but I just wanted to give you a graphic that shows how complex the writing and the transmission process was. Sometimes I think we get the idea, I know I did growing up in Christianity, that somehow magically the New Testament just appeared. But after going to college and grad school and really being fascinated, I'll be honest, with this subject, it's not like that at all. So anyway, I'll continue talking. Here we go. All right. The 27 books of the New Testament was first officially, I guess I should say, canonized during the councils of Hippo in 393 AD and the Council of Carthage in 397 AD. Both of these were in North Africa. Pope Innocent I ratified the same canon in 405 AD, but it's probable that a council in Rome in 382 AD under Pope Damasus I gave the same list for the first time. These councils also provided the canon of the Old Testament, as well as the books of the Apocrypha. However, I want to be really clear on this. There is no scholarly consensus on the date of composition of the latest New Testament texts. Conservative scholars tend to date all of the books of the New Testament before 70 AD, but that's still disputed. Okay. But in almost all Christian traditions, the New Testament consists of these 27 books. There are 4 canonical Gospels: Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. We have the Acts of the Apostles. Then we have 14 letters attributed to Paul, St. Paul. We have 7 general epistles or letters. And last, we have the book of Revelation, which, just as a sidebar, was the last canonical or text canonized. There was a great deal of controversy and disagreement and argument about putting the book of Revelation as canon. And it was really done late in the process, and then it was approved by, honestly, a very few votes of the council that approved it. And I find that just fascinating. All right. Let's see. So there we have just an introduction to you for the New Testament. Next time I'll go into a little bit more detail with you. So we'll see you then. You're seeing half of my face. I apologize. So we'll see you next time. Have a great day, and onward and forward. So long. Bye-bye.